It's now moving east at 20 miles per hour. This is still radar indicated, but this tornado warning, it now continues all the way until 6:45. So another 45 minutes, tornado warning for southeastern parts of Freestone County. This includes I-45, what we've been talking about between Fairfield and Buffalo, specifically mile markers 186 and 194. Possible tornado tracking over I-45 at any point between mile markers 186 and 194. If you're traveling along I-45, if your family or friends have notified you and you're streaming us, please make sure you pull over if you're between mile marker 186, 194. If you're just outside of those, please make sure you don't drive into this active tornado warning. This is Freestone County. A lot of folks are traveling southbound along I-45 out of Dallas, northbound out of Houston. Tornado warning. This continues to show strong signs of rotation as it is going to track over I-45 somewhere near due at any point. Do we still have access to that camera along I-45? We had a shot a little bit earlier looking northbound out of Buffalo. Buffalo is just to the south of this tornado warning. We could see the storm moving in. We could see the lightning. We couldn't see if there was any lowering in terms of a wall cloud or a funnel cloud or even a tornado, but we'll take a minute to look at this. We'll leave this up here for a second. So this is looking north out of Buffalo. Buffalo is just to the south of this tornado warning. So this would be the southbound traffic here on the left and the northbound traffic there on the right. And this is that storm that we're tracking. We want to kind of look in this area to see if there's any lowering as the storm approaches. Not seeing any clear signs, but that doesn't mean that this is not producing a tornado or even a wall cloud. Just really can't see that with the resolution of this camera. What you can see is the lightning, and that's a good indicator of this storm either maintaining intensity or possibly ratcheting up in intensity, which that does look to be the case, that it's at least maintaining intensity. And because of that, the National Weather Service out of Fort Worth has continued and extended that tornado warning. It was initially set to expire at 6. It's been extended until 6:45, so about another 43 minutes or so. And again, between mile markers 186 and 194 on Interstate 45, call your friends and family if you know anybody that is traveling. A lot of gas stations and stuff just along the interstate, and a lot of people traveling along the interstate. You can see that continuous flow of traffic along I-45, one of the busiest travel days of the year, especially if you live in Texas and you're just traveling to go see your family and friends. Not an ideal situation. Continuing to keep a really close eye on that potential of any rotation or any lowering. It kind of looks like you can just see kind of that base of the storm, kind of just a general lowering of that storm off in the horizon, kind of right in this vicinity when you see that lightning, but it's really hard to tell. The resolution of this camera isn't the best, not typically used to try to identify any tornadoes or anything like that, mainly to keep an eye on the roads and keep an eye on any possible issues, obstructions along certain sections of the highway. We'll just go back to radar and I'll show you where this storm is moving right now into due. So if you're in due, please, if you're not already in your safe room, you want to do that now. It's good to go inside of an interior bedroom, away from windows. That can be a laundry room, a bathroom. You can put the, keep saying this, you can put the bike helmet or an ATV helmet, or hey, if you like to snowboard or ski, one of those helmets on the kids. That would protect them from any possible flying debris. That's worst case scenario. No indication of any flying debris right now, but we'd rather be safe than sorry. And then the storm is moving toward Langley. So if you live in Langley, this is southeastern parts of Freestone County, you're going to be up next. So do Langley, please take those tornado precautions. This storm is going to stay tornado warned for about another 40 minutes. And then if you live in Red Lake or a community to the south of Red Lake, you want to make sure you take those tornado precautions because the storm is moving off to the east at 20 miles per hour now. So anywhere within this red polygon, this is southeastern Freestone County, is included within that tornado warning. Eventually this will cross over into Anderson County, but we still have another half an hour to 45 minutes of the storm staying in the KCEN viewing area. There were no additional severe warning storms in the area, but let me go ahead and double check. I'll go ahead and zoom out really quickly. If you're tuning in, you don't live in this area, you just may want to orient yourself and see what's going on elsewhere. This is what's going on elsewhere. No other active warnings, no active tornado warnings, no active severe thunderstorm warnings outside of southeastern Freestone County. That's the good news. However, there are some isolated storms that are starting to develop along the cold front and then also out ahead of the cold front. So keeping an eye between Lampasas, the west side of Killeen, Gatesville, up kind of between Waco, West Hillsboro for some of those isolated storms developing along that cold front. Those are going to move off toward the south and east. And then also down in the Brazos Valley, keeping an eye on these storms as well. Notice that that storm that is essentially, it's to the northwest of Summerville, kind of in between Rockdale and Bryan College Station. Going to really keep a close eye on that storm. It looks like it's in Burleson County, and it will eventually work toward Milam County as it kind of lifts off toward the north and east. We'll keep an eye on this storm because we have that low-level jet kicking in this time of the evening, so that starts to enhance that low-level rotation. So we'll keep an eye on that. Not tornado warned, not severe thunderstorm warned right now, but as it works its way toward Milam County, we'll continue to keep an eye on that. So if you live on the east side of Rockdale up toward maybe Calvert, Franklin, just keep an eye on these storms as they continue to move off to the north and east, and Bryan College Station as well in Brazos County. My producer was saying that we have a lot of lightning, so we'll just go ahead and pop this up really quickly. This right here, this is where we have that tornado warning. This is in Freestone County. This area you're looking at up here, this is included in tornado warning. That storm is tornado warned, is going to cross between mile markers 186 and 194. So likely crossing over that right now, possibly now on the east side of Interstate 45. You can just see that cloud-to-ground lightning, cloud-to-cloud lightning. I've been keeping a really close eye on the lightning strikes because that gives you an idea of a storm's intensity. If you see a decrease in the number of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, that's good news. That's an indicator that the storm is either currently weakening or will start to weaken. The lightning, however, has remained constant, and at times there's been a little uptick. So that gives you an idea that the storm is continuing to maintain that intensity, if not intensify a little bit further. And you can just see that lightning there in the background. A lot of folks are traveling along this stretch of the highway, Interstate 45. This is in Freestone County, and you can see that that lightning is there in the background. I haven't seen any indications of a wall cloud, tornado in terms of just looking at this camera here. But again, the resolution isn't the best, so that doesn't mean, kind of looks like maybe some traffic's backing up there. We'll keep a close eye on that. I don't know if this is lagging a little bit, but it kind of looked like there were a lot of brake lights, and this is traveling northbound right there. This lane here is northbound from Houston to Dallas. So that would be going toward that storm. Maybe that was just a little bit of a delay in the camera feed, but it looked like for a second that possibly there were some cars slowing down. That doesn't mean there's a tornado. That likely means there's very heavy rain. If you are out and about, I would suggest not traveling right now, but if you are, go slow on the highway. These are going to be prolific rain producers. Rainfall rates in these storms between 3/4 of an inch and 1.5 inches per hour. that can cause ponding on roadways. Doesn't matter how well the drainage system is set up, just that heavy of rainfall can lead to some issues. We'll go back to radar. I appreciate you all popping that up. Let me show you where that storm is that we are tracking that is tornado warned. It's to the north of the Brazos Valley, where we were just looking right here. This storm, folks, it is not looking good in terms of it's a severe storm, and it's rotating, and it possibly could be producing a tornado. And there have been no signs of any weakening within this storm. So that is definitely concerning, because it's now dusk, the sun is now set, and it's just this time of the year, you're not really thinking about tornadoes. So you're thinking more about the holidays, just wintry weather, cold weather, and unfortunately, we have a tornado warned storm on December 24th at 6:10 p.m. Very dangerous situation in Freestone County. Langley, Red Lake, please take those tornado precautions right now. There is a possible tornado bearing down on your location. You have no time. You have to be inside of your tornado shelter right now. But Langley and Red Lake, you still have a little bit of time, but you need to take those tornado precautions right now. Dangerous storm, continuing to rapidly rotate. Indications are that this is producing at least a wall cloud and possibly a tornado warned storm. This continues in that red polygon until 6:45. So another, say, 34 minutes or so. The area that has shown the signs of rotation is right there in Dew. It's going to work its way toward Langley and Red Lake within the next 5 to 15 minutes. So if you're in Red Lake, if you're in Langley, any communities in between or around these locations, take the tornado precautions now. If you are in Killeen or Waco or Temple and you're tuning in and you know anybody that lives here in Freestone County, just go ahead, give them a call, shoot them a message on Facebook or any other social media platform. Just let them know that there's this tornado warning, because a lot of folks likely not expecting a tornado warning. And the severe risk, we knew there was a severe risk. We were confident in one or two storms becoming severe, producing damaging wind gusts, large hail, but the tornado risk was low. Non-zero, but it was very low. This storm right here is definitely creating quite a bit of surprise with a lot of people, just because you just thought that there was going to be lightning, heavy rain, a little bit of wind, and hail. Well, now we have this tornado warning. So right in here, this is where there's that potential of that tornado, and then it's moving toward Langley and Red Lake within the next 5 to 15 minutes. So this storm has, this rotating part of the storm has now crossed over I-45. This is to the north of Buffalo. Buffalo is down here. Fairfield's here, so to the south of Fairfield, between mile markers 186, 194. That's where that storm crossed over. Now is moving into Dew, and eventually Langley and Red Lake have that potential to see a severe storm that could produce a tornado if it is not already producing a tornado. So this is the only severe warned storm that we have, and it is a tornado warning. So again, a few of the communities that will see impacts from this storm are Langley, Dew, and then Red Lake. Those are a few of the areas that will see potential impacts from this tornado warned storm. I'm going to try to show you the rotation that we had been tracking in this storm. I've been looking at it. I have another computer set up over here with a little more detailed radar software, where I've been keeping an eye on certain radar parameters that show, that can give debris signatures and ideas of rotation. So let me go ahead and just show you what we're looking at right here. I will go ahead and show the possible rotation in this storm, and let me turn off these wind particles so it's a little less distracting. But right here, where you see those red and green colors coming together, that indicates wind going toward and away from the radar. So when you see that red and green colors coming together, that gives you that aha moment that this storm is rotating. And that's what we are seeing. We are seeing that rotation now on the east side of due, and it's moving off toward, we'll say the northeast at about 20 miles per hour. So that means Langley and then Red Lake will see this rotation, this rotating storm, move over those communities within about the next 10 minutes. So Langley first, Red Lake next. So if you do live in either of those communities, you want to make sure you take the tornado precautions right now. This eventually will cross over Highway 84 probably within 10 to 15 minutes. This is in Freestone County, just to the east of Interstate 45. This is now where we have that strongest rotation. If you live in Oakwood, continue to stay tuned, keep a close eye on it, but right now the strongest part of the rotation is going to be to the north of Oakwood. If you live in Fairfield, the rotating part of the storm has now passed you to your south and east, so you'll continue to see heavy rain in Fairfield, but you're not under the risk for this storm to produce a tornado. Now, additional storms are developing to the west, so you want to continue to keep a close eye on that. But eventually, this storm will move out of Freestone County into Anderson County, and then at that point, it will be out of central Texas, out of the KCEN viewing area, and our sister station in Tyler, Texas, will start to pick up the coverage there. But we're going to continue to track this storm for you. We have been on air tracking this storm since 5:12 p.m. today. At 5:13, in the middle of the weathercast, this went to a tornado warning. So we were looking at the watches and warnings. There were no watches or warnings. There were flood advisories up toward Hillsborough, but there were no watches or warnings. And then like that, the tornado warning was issued in Limestone and Freestone County at 5:13. Limestone County is no longer in that warning, but Freestone County is still within that tornado warning, and this continues until 6:45. So this is going to continue for just under another half an hour, and this storm has not shown any signs of weakening. The rotation has maintained, and it's just continuing to be a dangerous storm. Now, this is radar indicated. I do want to mention that. There, to my knowledge, I'll go back and check here in a minute in the chat, there have been no reports of an actual tornado that has hit the ground or touched the ground or caused damage. But I will go back to the chat here in just a second to verify that that has not changed. But regardless of that, this has moved across relatively rural areas. So it's possible that this did produce a tornado and it just didn't impact anybody. And hopefully, if it did produce a tornado, that's the case. Hopefully it just was out in a pasture and didn't impact any livestock, no homes, no barns, no infrastructure, and we're good. But this storm has been impressive from a meteorological standpoint. It's been a very consistent storm that has rotated pretty consistently for over an hour. This is the only severe storm that we have right now. If you're tuning in from the Brazos Valley, maybe you're in Somerville, Bryan College Station, Rockdale, Cameron, Calvert, those areas, keeping an eye on this storm down here. This is near Caldwell, just to the north of Caldwell. keeping a really close eye on that storm. So that would be in Burleson County. This will eventually move into Robertson, Milam, possibly northern parts of Brazos County. We want to keep a really close eye on this storm. It's not severe right now, but you can kind of see those pink colors and purple colors indicating this storm is strong. So if it intensifies just a little bit more, it could become severe warned. And it's in an environment that could support an isolated tornado. Not tornado warned right now, not even severe thunderstorm warning, but Milam, Robertson, possibly northern parts of Brazos County. We'll even say College Station, Bryan. Keep a close eye on this storm. Most of it stays to the north of Caldwell, but it is moving off to the north and east. So we will continue to keep a really close eye on that. It would eventually cross over Highway 6 as well. So that's another storm that we will continue to keep a really close eye on. We still have that tornado warning in effect. I'll show you another graphic here in just a minute, but let me just point out, tornado warning continues for Freestone County until 6:45. And if you are within that red polygon, if you're in Langley, Red Lake, even if you're in Turlington or any community in between those locations, please take those tornado precautions right now. That severe risk is going to continue throughout the evening into the overnight hours, so into your early Christmas morning, especially to the east of I-35 and then kind of along I-45 into the Brazos Valley. This is where we have that level 2 or that slight risk. So with that severe risk, you have no severe risk, and then it goes from a level 1 to a level 5. And as you ascend up from that level 1 or that marginal up to that level 5 or that high, the severe risk increases and the coverage increases as well. So notice as you extend your way west of I-35, kind of getting into the hill country, into central parts of Texas, level 1 risk. There is a severe risk, it's low, coverage is going to be isolated at best. Moving into the eastern parts of central Texas down into the Brazos Valley, this is where we have that level 2 or that slight risk. So a little bit higher, still on the low side, but a little bit higher, better chance for a couple storms to become severe. So instead of it being hit or miss isolated severe storms, maybe becomes a little more scattered. And then as you work your way toward that level 4, level 5, it becomes more numerous. Fortunately, we don't have any level 4, level 5 severe risk for, not even a level 3 for central Texas. This is where we have that tornado warning. This is in Freestone County. Again, in between Fairfield and Buffalo, but now working its way toward Langley. So if you do live in Langley, take those tornado precautions now. This is the only warning and watch that we have. The green shaded areas up toward Corsicana, into eastern parts of Texas, northeastern Texas, that's a flood advisory. So just keep that in mind that if you are out traveling, hopefully you're not, these storms, as I mentioned earlier, are prolific rain producers, between 3/4 of an inch and 1.5 inches of rain per hour. So producing some very heavy rainfall rates because we just have a lot of moisture out there and these storms are relatively slow moving storms. So that's going to lead to that potential of some heavy rain amounts. A lot of times we can see storms in this part of the state that can move 30, 40, 45 miles per hour. But that's not the case with these storms. So they're moving slow, and that's going to increase that heavy rain risk. This is where we have the tornado warning. It is now east of I-45, so Langley, Turlington, Red Lake. If you live in any of these areas, any of these communities, take those tornado precautions now as these storms move off to the north and east or the east-northeast at about 20, maybe 25 miles per hour. This tornado warning does continue for about another 20 to 22 minutes or so until 6:45. Let me go ahead and see if we have any updates from the National Weather Service. We have a new watch. Let me show you this watch. And if you're tuning in from an area outside of Limestone and Freestone counties, I apologize. I know you're probably like, this isn't impacting me, but these are our family, our friends, our loved ones that do live in Freestone County who are included within this tornado warning. So we want to make sure that we are providing them coverage to help keep them safe. So there is a severe thunderstorm watch that continues until midnight. This does not include Temple, Killeen, Waco. This is pretty much east of I-35. It's not showing up just yet. It hasn't populated in the graphic system, but there is a severe thunderstorm watch until midnight. It's going to be to the east of I-35. It's mainly going to be from Cameron up toward Marlin, Mejia, Centerville, Franklin, Hearn, Cameron, Bryan, College Station. So essentially the Brazos Valley, including Aggieland, and then extending down toward the coastal plains into southeastern parts of Texas. So that would include Katy, Houston, Beaumont, even Orange. Think back to that storm we were talking about a little bit earlier, to the west of College Station. Severe thunderstorm warning now issued on that storm. This is that polygon that you see right there. Let me go ahead and take a look, dive into that storm a little bit. This is that storm that we were keeping an eye on because it was intensifying and is in an environment that is conducive to produce severe weather. So let's go ahead and take a look at that storm. Still a tornado warning for another about 20 minutes or so for Freestone County, Turlington, Red Lake, Langley. Take those tornado precautions. There is now a severe thunderstorm warning down here toward Caldwell, west side of Bryan College Station. So if you live in Burleson County, so it looks like Burleson County is included. It does include Caldwell, but most of the severe weather looks to be just north of Caldwell and mainly south of Hicks. But it also appears this severe thunderstorm warning, it also includes western parts of Brazos County. So technically, Bryan and College Station are not included in that warning yet. However, it is possible that if this storm maintains the intensity and continues on this track, that it could produce severe weather. So we're going to be on for about another 3 minutes, and then we're going to hop off. But you can always download the KCEN app